Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. So this is a knitting podcast and I am here to talk to you about yarn and knitting and some crochet. And today I have a little bit of Bargello and just a whole lot of yarny, crafty goodness. So if that interests you, please stick around. I would love to have you. I am a 39-year-old woman. I live in southeastern Michigan. I live here with my husband, my two kiddos. I love to craft. I love to knit. I love to create garments. And so that is what you will see a lot on my channel. I am currently working on a list of 30 I created a list of 30 projects that I want to do in the next, 2 years or so, however, and I am slowly starting to chip away at that. So that is what we are going to talk about just a little bit today. I'm sorry if I keep looking over there. I'm just making sure that I have everything. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. I'm not going to say any Sound of Music jokes. We know it's a very good place to start. I used to watch that when I was little with my aunt a long time ago. Okay, anyways, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is admin, and that means that we're going to give away a digital pattern. So the way that you enter is you just leave a comment down below and next week come back and see if you win. That's pretty much it. The rules are you can only win once a month and do you guys hear the cardinal that's chirping outside? I'm sorry, it just started distracting me and I can see it right outside my window. Okay, the rules are the pattern price must be under $15 USD and you can only win once a month. Today's just going to be one of those scatterbrain days. So anyways, I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And if that was you, reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. Let me know what pattern prize that you want. Let me know your Ravelry name so I can gift it to you. If you don't use Ravelry, tell me that too. We can figure out a different payment platform to send you your pattern. Okay, now I am wearing, what am I wearing? I am wearing my Summer in a Box tee and I love this. This yarn is very comfy, cozy. This is Barocco Renew and I have recently heard that it is going to be discontinued, which is actually quite a shame. This is very comfy. I remember mentioning that whenever I knit it, it reminded me kind of like the feeling of like a microfiber, which you either like or you don't. I happen to like it. I think that it knit up very nice. I like wearing it. It's very casual and I enjoyed the pattern. The pattern is by Ewelina Murach, and I've put up the information up there. She also has a cardigan. Yes, she has a cardigan as well, and I have the pattern for that. I've thought about doing it. I am definitely going to do it, but it's not on my Make 30. It'll probably go on my second time around, so we'll just see when it happens. I know that for the cardigan, I will more than likely want to use a woolen nylon just for kind of a difference. I do like my cardigans to have a little bit of nylon in them. It seems to make them a little bit harder wearing. And that's pretty much it. I knit this last year. It only took me, I don't know, a month or two. Just a little bit of a design on the ribbing here and then some up top. This panel right here was what kind of drew me to this pattern to begin with, and that's also why I like the cardigan as well, because I think that this is so neat. It carries on throughout the whole top and I just thought that was really pretty, so that is why I picked this one. This was the first pattern that I picked from this designer, and I really did like it. So since then, I've seen quite a few more patterns that I like from her. So it's just a matter of having enough time to knit all the things that I like to knit. So, okay, as for knitting this week, you guys, I have not knit that much at all this week. This week has been quite a bit. We've had weird weather, and part of the weird weather is we've gone from like warm to like snow to like warm, and it's doing a number on how I feel and my back and all of that, because whenever it rains, you know, it makes it like the pain a whole bunch worse. If you guys have something like arthritis or anything that really acts up in the rain, you know what I mean. But with that said, I did finish the brioche hat that I started last week, and this is the Dorian hat. This is a DK weight hat, and I'm gonna kind of zoom up. Now, do you see this line right here? There's going to be quite a few of them in there, and that is because I have not blocked this yet, because I finished it yesterday and I wanted to show you guys. So you can see right there, those are the lines I had my lifelines in, because this is brioche and brioche is new to me. So I am using a lifeline every chance I get, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like having to have to redo my knitting, especially brioche, especially because it takes so long. I think I like this side better, the lighter side with the knit stitches. It takes so long to work up. So this was knit with DK weight yarn, and it's a haiku yarn. And I've put up the information for the yarn up top. Whenever I show the pattern, I'll put the yarn up there if I have it. If I've actually knit it or it's in progress. So what did I learn from this brioche hat? Well, I learned that brioche takes quite a while to knit. I mean, that's obvious, right? For every brioche round, well, for every regular knitting round, you need to do 2 brioche rounds. And that is because you're basically just knitting one round, one stitch, and then purling the other stitch. Well, yeah. So there are lots of loops and slipping stitches. Now, do I like it? I wonder if I can show this crown a little bit. Do I like it? I think I will like it more once I get better at it. This Dorian hat it's not a complicated pattern, right? You cast on and you're doing 2-color brioche. Well, the pattern doesn't have 2-color brioche in the brim. You do brioche, but it's just 1 color. I forewent that and did 2-color the entire way up. So you do 2-color brioche until the decreases, and then you start decreasing. It does a stitch where you're decreasing 4 stitches at a time, which is it was very difficult when I first saw it. I'm like, what in the world? So I rewatched the YouTube video about 14 times. And then after I did like 2 decrease rounds, I'm like, okay, I think I can do this without following with the YouTube video. So I did eventually get it. I think that my next one of these will be a little bit smoother, but this is a knitting adventure. It's a knitting experience and journey, and we're just right now trying to learn to do brioche and do brioche well. So, and I do like the way that it came out. I think that blocking will help, you know, the unevenness of everything going on. And I already cast on another one. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the yarn that I am using for this. This is Stacy Charles Bianca. This is 100% wool, and I've got two different colors here, 415 and 412, which from here on out will be known as blue and pink because that's what they are. So I was looking for some DK yarn and I ran across this and I thought that these were pretty, these were nice. So we have this, they're like heathered with some of this white, and that's the pink, and obviously this is the blue. This kind of reminds me of like blue jeans. So that is what they look like together. And this is how far I've gotten, which is not very far at all. But I'm gonna see if I can at least show you what the stitches are going to look like. I don't know if that's gonna work very well. Cover my face, maybe. Let me try the other side too. With all of that said, I think this has got like 6 rows, so like 3 knit stitches, 3 rows of knit stitches. I'm all tangled. And it is pretty relaxing until you do something wrong. So with the Dorian, the brown Dorian hat, with this one right here, I did a bunch of stuff wrong on that hat. Like, I'm sitting there knitting, just all of a sudden I'm purling stitches I should be knitting, or knitting stitches I should be purling. So I had to think back quite a bit. That's when I, you know, relearned the lesson that I always seem to need to relearn, especially when I'm brioching, that I should use lifelines. So that's when I started putting the lifelines in. And I will not have this problem with this hat because I'm gonna start like right out of the gate. As soon as I get about this much in, a lifeline's going in, and we're just gonna keep repeating the process through the whole hat. Because as fun as it is to knit, it's not as much fun to tink back. I'm not a big fan of it. This yarn, I've never used it before. It is super soft and very fluffy. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's a definite halo on it. One of the reasons I picked this yarn is because it came like it, you don't have to cake it up. So if that gives you any indication on how much of a fan I am of having to ask somebody to grab out like the ball winder and the Swift, and it's just a huge thing. So anytime I can use a yarn that doesn't need to be wound, I'm all for it. This hat is going to be for my daughter, and if she doesn't want it, it's going to be for me. I've also got some yarn picked out that is going to be black and pink. And I wonder if I have it. You have seen this before. This is Lang Yarn Regina, and I made a willow pullover out of this. So this is going to be the pink. And then the black yarn is some sort of merino wool. And so these two will be very happy together. And who doesn't want a black and pink hat? So speaking of black and pink, I've got that Take Your Time by Joji Locatelli on my Make 30, and I just keep thinking how much fun it would be to do like pink and gray, like shades of pink and shades of like black gray. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking in my head right now. So stay tuned for that. I feel like I'm going to somehow draw the cardigan out and then use a bunch of markers to kind of color in how I want it to look before I even attempt to kind of address like beginning knitting it. That's what I mean. Okay, so the only other thing that I've worked on knitting related is Vertices Unite. And I've been having fun with this one. This is quite the endeavor here. I am not much of a shawl knitter, and it's not that I dislike knitting them. It's that I don't know. Being in a wheelchair, I don't want it to drag. I don't, you know how it is whenever you don't want something to drag on the floor, and then it just, they're so big. A lot of them are very big, especially the Stephen West shawls. And you just start thinking, well, is this practical for me where I am in my life right now? But I decided that I wanted to make this. I really like the finished object. And if I don't have a use for it, I will gladly gift it to somebody else. I'm showing you the wrong side, so let me turn it over. Here we go. This is my Vertices Unite, which is slowly growing. I am using two pretty colors, a light lavender and a darker purple, and these are both from Mouse Witch Yarns, and they are part of a sugar plum set. And as soon as I am done with this section, I have 3 more colors to use from this set on this shawl, and I can't wait. I really like how that looks. That's beautiful. And who doesn't want like a purple themed project, right? Now, the Vertices Unite is garter stitch. So this is all knitting. It's all knitting back and forth. And while the rows here are kind of getting long, I'm making the large size. So I go up to a number, and then I start to go back down a little bit, and then I'll be done with section 1. And then I haven't read about section 2, so I'm not sure what exactly I'm doing for section 2. However, I do know that it's garter stitch, and I know that only some of the sections are striped. So this is, and you know what? I honestly hope that this kind of broadens my horizons into shawls. This is by Stephen West, and I am a big fan of Stephen West's sweaters, and everybody loves his shawls, and every time I hear somebody talk about Stephen West or his patterns, they go, well, I've always learned something from doing one of his patterns, and I that makes me so happy, because that is my main kind of goal in life, right? To just keep learning and learn new things, whether it's work or hobbies or just life in general. You can never learn too much. So I'm hoping that I will be on section 2 by next week, but I have seemed to have lost like some of my knitting oomph. And I feel like maybe it was a little bit because of the brioche, just because I've been struggling. And by struggling, I mean it's just not as easy knitting as I'm normally used to. So I'm taking it in stride, and I'm hoping that as I practice, and I've said this to my kids, my daughter has had kind of some struggles with math, and I keep telling her, you know, as you practice, you're going to get better at it. So I just keep telling myself, you know, as you practice brioche, you're going to get better at it. And I'm hoping that's the case. I mean, theoretically, one of the things that I always like saying is, you know, if something is hard, you should stick with it until it's not so hard anymore. That goes for a lot of things in life, like push-ups and running and all of the physical things, and then all of the mental things like math. And she's learning multiplication tables, and she kept practicing, and at the beginning she was struggling really hard with them. At the end, now she's like like super fast getting right through them. So I'm going to use that as my inspiration for brioche. By the way, did you guys see Stephen West's new pattern? Oh, we will talk about it in a little bit when I talk about patterns, but I saw it, and when I looked at it, I'm like, oh man, I'm having a hard enough time on a hat. There's no way I can do that, but it would be fun, definitely. Okay, I'm just going to give you a very quick update on my Bargello kit because I finished the whole thing here. So now all I need to do is the edging and then put the little, basically put it together. So this is not how it goes. You basically fold it in thirds like this. And I think that's gonna be really cute. I am going to use this to like hold stitch markers, I think, because I like it. It's gonna be fun. This was a kit from Hello Bargello, and I've never done anything like this before, and I'm glad that I got this kit, and I'm glad that I purchased them. They were on sale for Black Friday, and I'm glad that I decided to get this one and the big purse one that I got. I'm not sure if I want to do the purse next or if I want to work on the cardinal plastic canvas embroidery kit that I have, because I would like either one of them. So maybe do the plastic canvas kit first as kind of a change, and then I can come back to the Bargello. What do you guys think? I'm not sure. I'm never good at deciding what patterns or projects I should work on next, because there's just so many, and it's like analysis paralysis. How do you guys decide what projects you're gonna knit next? Because I envy people who are like, okay, I only have one thing I want to work on and that's it. Because it's not like that for me, not anymore. In the beginning, I was a monogamous knitter. I'm still very narrow scoped in what I knit. But my list of things that I want to knit is very large. So it kind of gets hard to decide what to knit next, which is why instead of a make 9, I have a make 30. Okay, well, that is all of the knitting that I have today. I told you guys that I haven't gotten much knitting done. With everything going on this week, it has been a hectic week. I'll talk about it just a little bit in life. But I am going to show you a couple of patterns, and I want to start with this one because I had just mentioned it. So Stephen West came out with a new pattern, and it is called the Brioripple wrap. And I looked at this, and it's very pretty, and I really like wraps. Out of all of the shawl shapes, I think wraps are my favorite. Wraps would still, see, this is where I kind of get a little bit confused. Are wraps still considered shawls? Like, are they different things? If you look at this kind of looks like an oversized scarf, but I love it. It is called the Brioripple wrap. And in true Stephen West fashion, he's already got some YouTube videos out for it. And if you've never done one of his patterns, he does quite awesome video tutorials. So if you ever need to find a technique, an explanation or instructions on some techniques that he's used in a project, you can check out YouTube, and generally he will have something. So let's read about this. This is actually, it says it's fingering weight yarn, and this says lace end fingering equals fingering. So it looks like you're using their West Wool Glow Hair and Tricycle. So it says that the gauge is 20 stitches by 20 rows in brioche stitch. So I can't believe this whole thing is in brioche. Like, wow. I wonder how, so, okay, look at this. Look at how big and long this is. So since it's brioche, that means you're doing basically twice the amount of knitting as normal knitting. And I'm sure this is so gorgeous and comfy and cozy. And look at how cool that looks. It says the Brioripple wrap features wavy bands of 2-color brioche and reverse stockinette stripes. Okay, so the smaller stripes are reverse stockinette. But still, look at how, that is incredible. Think of all of, like, you could have so much fun with an advent with this one. Or you could just do it in like 2 colors. I mean, right? You could make this as absolutely crazy as you want, or as just monochromatic. I love how with Stephen West patterns, there's like a whole wide range of different projects. It says, feel free to customize your brioche color combinations however you like as you create a uniquely striped fabric. The size of the wrap is easy to customize. Simply bind off early after any brioche section for a shorter length, or continue to knit the wavy pattern repeats as recommended for a long dramatic wrap. So when I saw that, I wanted to mention it, especially since I've been working on brioche lately. Okay, this is the Anemone sweater, and this is by Pernille Larsen. So I love this. Do you see this color work pattern? And I love how oversized, there we go. That's the one I want to show you. I love how big and oversized this sweater is. And I love how, this is another one of those that you can use multiple colors. You could make those flowers all one color. Or you could do all of the rows one color except one row to make it really pop out. But this is knit in fingering yarn, weight yarn, and it's got a really good size range. It's 2 extra small to 3 to 4 XL. So that means that it goes from a chest circumference of 30 inches to 58 1/4 inch, basically. And it says the yarn that they use here is Knitting for Olive Merino and 1 strand of Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. I haven't used their soft silk mohair before, but I don't know. If you guys were doing an all over colorwork sweater like this, would you want to include mohair in it? I wonder if they just do it for some of the color, like different. I was wondering if they just did it for parts of the chart or if they did it like the whole way, because you'd think that if you held like a silk mohair together throughout the whole thing that it would kind of obstruct the color work. Well, I don't know. I feel like I would want to hold the soft silk mohair with just the colored parts of the flower. I think that would be really fun. And then it would kind of make them a little bit 3D. Okay, in recognition of brioche, I ran across this pattern, and this is called Kiro by Ririko, and this is in brioche as well. And the reason I'm showing it to you is because of the neck. That is not going to be very clear right there, but I'm superimposing pictures so that you guys can see. I really thought that that neck was pretty. And I really like necks that aren't just ribbing, right? Like all knit sweaters it feels like a ton of knit sweaters have ribbing. And whenever I see something that's not knitting, or not ribbing, it just stands out to me a little bit more. So this has 9 sizes available, and it says that Kiro Crossroads in Japanese is a pullover with 2-color brioche rib patterns on the circular yoke. Sleeves come in 2 options, short or long. It is worked from the top down seamlessly. After 2-color cast on, the yoke is worked in the round in 2-color brioche rib, and the lower body is knit only in 1 color straight in the round. So this might be a really good like beginner, well, I don't want to say beginner friendly, but beginner to brioche sweater knitting friendly pattern. That's a very long way to say that if you are pretty comfortable with brioche but you've never knit a sweater in it before, it looks like this would be a good place to start, and it is really pretty. This is knit in fingering weight yarn. It feels like I'm showing you a lot of fingering weight yarn today, but it feels very, what's the word, applicable, because we're going to be in April here very quickly. So I mean, it's gonna be, well, I guess it is spring, but it's gonna feel like spring pretty soon, and eventually in Southeast Michigan, we're going to stop getting threatened with the event of snow. That was worded very weird. You guys know what I mean. Eventually, we'll not have to worry about it snowing anymore. We've got spring break across the country. Kids are on spring break for like the last part of March or the middle of March, or even some the beginning of March or the beginning of April. So it's getting to be that time. I loved this next pattern. And the reason I love this pattern, and pay attention to the pictures as I put them up here, the reason I love this pattern is because there's one that uses this really pretty like pink color. It's like pink and cream in the sample knit photos, and I looked at it and I'm like, wow, that's gorgeous. This is called the Filoli shawl, and this is by Ksenia Naidyon. And I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but I've put the information up. This is also another fingering weight shawl, and it says, the Filoli shawl offers the familiar comfort of a cozy triangular wrap spiced up with interesting stitch patterns. And let me see if I can show you. Do you guys see the tassels? And I thought, I'm not a big fan of tassels, but I really liked how she incorporated tassels on this shawl. Very minor detail, but I thought that they were pretty. This has a bunch of different like textured shawls, and it also incorporates color work. So you're using at least 2 different colors, and it says it uses mosaic patterns and garter stitch. All color work requires just 1 color per row, and the whole shawl is almost completely worked with knit and slipped stitches, very little purling. This asymmetric piece is knit flat from the tip and shaped with increases along one side. Due to the construction, the length of this shawl is adjustable to fit the available yardage. Just knit until you run out of yarn. The edges are polished with built-in I-cord that is continued in 2-color I-cord bind off. Video tutorial provided. So I like this shawl even more now that it's a whole bunch of garter stitch and mosaic. So to me, that screams that this would be a very easy pattern to work when you're listening to a book, or you're listening to TV, or you're talking to people, things like that. And everybody needs a couple of patterns like that. And it's also very gorgeous. I thought that was so pretty. I think it's that one, but I also really like the sample colors for the second one too. You know, it's the pink. It's the pink and like the purples, and just, I don't know. I'm a sucker for things like that. I ran across this, and in true Mandy fashion, I have to show it to you. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be making a couple of these, so it is what it is. This is called Inside Cat, and this is by Anna Hrachovec, I believe. And look at what this is, you guys. This is adorable. These are cat bookmarks. Can you see them? Look. I've got to make at least 2 of these, one for each one of my kids. Probably more than that. I'm wondering how long they would take. I'm supposed to be concentrating just on the Make 30, but look at how cute they are. And as soon as I show my daughter, she has been reading the Bad Kitty series, and she has been adoring those books. So who doesn't want a matching Bad Kitty bookmark, right? And this is actually a free pattern. It says, as any cat knows, getting cozy is more than a comfort, it's a whole lifestyle. For those of us who like to get cozy with a book, Inside Cat is a comfy companion who will affirm and support our cherished moments of literary bliss. Her primary job is to snuggle up between pages, but also she excels at snuggling up with readers. Inside Cat was inspired by my first children's book, Cat Side Up, Cat Side Down. The book demonstrates prepositions with photos of knitted cats in all different, mostly cozy positions. Oh my goodness, I did not know that. I'm gonna have to look at that book now because, right? Anyways, what was I gonna say? This is knit with worsted weight yarn, but I mean, it's a bookmark, so obviously you could knit this with any weight yarn you wanted. You might not want to go bulky because it's going to be a little bit bulky within the pages, but you should be able to go thinner, I would think. It would make for a smaller bookmark, but look at how cute it is. I love it. I wonder what this body is knit like. I'm trying to see. It says it's knit flat. I wonder if the body's garter stitch. It doesn't matter. I'm sure that you could make the body either stockinette or garter. I'm assuming it's going to be garter though. Yeah, because if it was stockinette, it might curl. Yes, that's what I'm going to go with. I haven't looked at the pattern because I just found it last night, and I don't want to start anything not on my Make 30. And my kiddo watches these, so I know as soon as she sees this, she's going to want me to make her one. She keeps asking me, Mom, when are you going to make my Ori stuffed animal? She loves this game. My hair is sticking up. She loves this game, and it's called Ori in the Blind Forest, and they have amigurumi patterns off of, they have amigurumi patterns on Ravelry, and I've made her one before, but she's like loved it to pieces. So she keeps asking if I'll make her another one. And I keep telling her I will soon. And that's what we've been going back and forth with lately. Okay, so this next pattern is called the Chain Sweater, and this is by Pope Vergara. So I started looking at this designer's patterns, and she has some gorgeous patterns involving lace and sequins and beads. And I saw this one, and I really liked this one. Let me see if I can find. That's not going to show up well, but I'll be superimposing pictures anyways. but I really loved the yarn that she used for this and how this looks. And I have not knit anything from this designer, but all of her designs were gorgeous when I was looking at them, especially the ones with the beads. She had a sweater. Yeah, I want to say it's a sweater. It was long sleeves and beading on the arms. And I thought that that was really cool. So this particular sweater uses like a beaded mohair and sequins yarn, and then it uses some glitter yarn and some merino cloud. It says, welcome to the chain pattern, a round yoke sweater knitted from the top down seamlessly, standing out for its unique play of colors and textures and gradient. This design is a visual pleasure and an adventure in innovative techniques. With chain, you will explore the technique of rusamine adapted with an I-cord, offering the freedom to customize it with different materials from ribbons to bulky lace yarns. The star detail is the lace in the center of the yoke, enhanced with unique yarns that carry beads and sequins, though you can opt for mohair or any other yarn you prefer. Chain is your canvas to experiment, create, and elevate your knitting to a new level of personal expression. So that is super cool. And I love whenever patterns give you that creativity to just kind of give you a blank slate and let you just use your freedom of use your creativity freely, however you'd like to. So that is a really cool designer, you guys. I would definitely check them out. They had like so many interesting patterns, and I just started going, oh, I like that one, and oh, I like that one. You guys know how I am. Okay, guys, I have one more pattern. This is a new one from Isabell Kraemer, and it is knit in Murach, and it is knit in fingering weight yarn, and I'm hoping that I'm putting pictures up so that you guys can see how textured the yoke is. But I thought that this was a pretty transitional piece, and I've always liked how kind of simple and clean, and I don't know, maybe modern's the word that I need, that Isabell Kraemer's patterns are, but this is just a very sweet sweater. So I've never used Murach before, and I know that a lot of people speak very highly of them, but the opportunity just hasn't come up. I will definitely have to. This has 9 different sizes, so that's awesome. It's super size inclusive, and it is a circular yoke. Jeez. It is a circular yoke, so I'm sure you guys have noticed that from the pictures. And it says that it's worked seamlessly from the top down. Starting with neck shaping, short rows are worked back and forth to create a higher back neck. The yoke is then worked in the round to sleeve separations. Increases are worked into the textured part of the yoke, followed by raglan increases for the lower part of the yoke. Oh, interesting. So the textured part of the yoke is worked to hide increases, and then the lower part uses raglan increases, which is really kind of neat. And let's see, it says textured, seamless, and short rows. The yarn that this uses is Murach Fiorellino, and please let me know down below if you've ever used that. The yarn page on Ravelry says that it's wool, yak, linen, and basically wool, yak, and linen. So I keep wanting to try something that has yak in it. And I've mentioned this before on the podcast. It's because yak is supposed to kind of give the yarn color more depth, and I Like, I really want to try that, but I haven't yet. I will get a chance to. I just have yarn, right? And I can't knit that fast. So I need to either grow some arms, learn how to knit faster, or just take my time and relax and knit at my pace. And when I get yak, I'll get yak. And I think it's going to be that third one because, unfortunate for me, they haven't come up with a way to kind of grow extra arms. Not sure that I'd want to anyways. Okay, that is all for the patterns. So I am going to talk about life stuff for 5 minutes because that's all I've got. This last week has been very hectic. I've been kind of working on other things other than knitting, which is fine. Kind of getting life up to speed here. And I had some doctor's appointments. I went for my DEXA scan and just health stuff that's pretty boring. I finished reading Insomnia, and that book was a bit. I would like to read somebody's synopsis on this because I feel like I didn't quite grasp it. Which is no surprise because a lot of the times when I'm listening to a book, I'm doing other things. So I will just kind of block out whole chapters and then later have to kind of go back and rewind them and then repeat over and over again until I finally get through a book. But I read Insomnia and I started Brain Damage from Frida McFadden. And I'm about like 60-ish% of the way through that. And that's a typical Frida McFadden book. And I think I kind of drifted towards that because the Stephen King was just too much for me at the time. And with Frida McFadden, it's just like, I don't know how to say this. It's not very in-depth. It's very superficial. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean easy listening. I hope that makes sense and it isn't offensive or anything. I just mean that, like, if I am doing other things, it's fine if I kind of block out the chapter for a bit. Other than that, not much has been going on. We planted a strawberry bush. And now we're excited for, not a strawberry bush, it's a plant. It's like, it was called a strawberry bush. That's why I keep referring to it as one. But technically it's just a plant. But other than that, that's what we've been doing. I'm excited for April to be here pretty soon. I'm even more excited for May, which is when things start kind of turning around here in Michigan. Kind of getting closer to the 70s than like the 30s and more sunny and things like that. And I find that time of year just raises my mood a little bit. I reached out, got a prescription for a power wheelchair and kind of started the process with that. I'm waiting for them to call me back. But that's about it for life stuff. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. If you guys are interested in next week's giveaway, just leave a comment down below. And other than that, I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a great week. Thanks. Bye.